As introduced, I was working for Tadao Ando for 5 years. Then after that, I go to Vietnam. Because when I travel to Vietnam, I feel something very different from Japanese culture or Japanese city atmosphere. Then I feel some possibility of the architecture. So first, I will introduce roughly about the Vietnamese culture or Vietnamese situation. Vietnam has a lot of minority people, so we still have a lot of ethnic cultures. This is in the north of Vietnam. This is Sapa. We have a lot of rice field in the mountain. This is in the middle. There was a Chinese town or Japanese town in Hoi An. So we had a lot of different cultures in the middle. And in the south, we have the very huge Mekong Delta. So a lot of people still living with the water. We have water markets or water housing. Then I'm now based in Ho Chi Minh City. The Ho Chi Minh City has also have rich cultures. Some are influenced from France, America, and this building is designed by Eiffel. Then this is the the Children's Hospital. Then after that, the Vietnamese modern architects developed their own cultures before the war finished. This is the Go Viet too that he designed, combined with the Vietnamese culture together with the modernism. This this rotating door has very 3 layers, but it's connecting by a small detail. So this is one of our inspirations when we design our buildings. Then these days, around these 4-5 years, the city is really developing rapidly. Then everywhere in Ho Chi Minh City becoming international style, but international style without any target, just like a capitalism. Actually, Vietnam is a communist country, but the city atmosphere is really like a capitalism atmosphere. Then, before starting the project, I will introduce our personal attitude to the architecture. I think the human has several important instincts related to the architecture, and one of it is to learn about the order of the world. We have the curiosity to know what is the world, how the world works, what kind of force is working. For example, about the wind, about the ocean, or about the geography. We want to know why the wave behave like that, or wind is react like that. This is somehow important attitude for us. And secondly, the people intervenes with the nature and add something, artificial things into the nature. Then to control somehow, or to make another, a new harmony with the nature. This is also very interesting for us. For example, when we see the reservoir or some yacht, canoes or surfings, or when we see some industries, also we can feel how the people and nature is really melting each other. Then for us, we want to try these kind of instincts or the human nature into the architecture practice. Then it means that we want to when we visit the site, we want to understand about the context. We have a lot of context in the site. For example, historical context, geographical context, or cultural context, a lot of backgrounds and context. So we want to read what kind of context is streaming around the site, and what kind of new elements we should add, then how to improve the environment or how to harmonize with the surrounding environment. This is my curiosity about architecture. And when we think about these things, for me, I have one more important the themes. This is about the human, how to expand humans' the perceptions or 5 senses into the surrounding world. For example, when we ride on the bicycle or motorbike, then when we step on some small gravels, we can feel clearly as if we are stepping on the gravels on my foot. It means that the sense of the leg is extending or expanding to the end of the tire. Or when we are child, that we are more sensitive about this kind of perceptions or the senses. For example, when I was the kid, I was scared of the nighttime in the toilet. I feel that the toilet in the nighttime is not belong to the human. Somebody else is, how to say, they occupying. So I really hesitate to use it. So, or for example, when we are walking in the forest, really wild forest, we feel a bit scared because we don't control the space. Then sometimes I'm afraid the bears appears, or snakes will appears, or something happens, I cannot control myself. But after, for a while, if we come to some stepping rice field after the forest, we feel a bit easy because human control this area. This kind of sense is also related to the architecture, and it's important for me. For example, when we see the old Japanese temples, it's really clear that people is not much focused on the architecture or buildings, but how to stay together with the surrounding nature or gardens or mountains, or this kind of environment is really important for them. For example, this is a Kozanji temple. Then instead of the garden, they use the surrounding the geography as their garden. And this one also, this is really typical Japanese temple, but for them it's really really transparent. And garden is sometimes more important than the architecture. Or another example, that this is also famous temple, shrine. This is Itsukushima Shrine. If we don't have this one, this building is just a building on the shore. But with this torii structure, people will create the virtual border, and this side is human. That side is for the god. So with this structure, even people is inside this building, but people can sense about the human territory, the god territory, and the surrounding nature together. This kind of things is maybe we can also say in the Buckminster Fuller, maybe he designed the huge glass domes on Manhattan in order to connect with the scale of the Earth. He's the one who said that the spaceship, the Earth as a spaceship. So in in the diagram, we can say that this is kind of the modern territory understanding. After the modern words, we are a bit too much focused on where we can own, like a personal, like a private ownership. Then the inside of the owned space, we really decorate as we like, but outside we don't care too much. But we want to, in our case, we want to read the surrounding context, and we want to design something melting with the surrounding environment. Then after that, we want to spread inside people's sense to the surrounding as well. This is our philosophy. Okay, then I will explain about 6 projects in our practice. This is the first project. We call this Bintan House. This house, because in Vietnam, the clients requires a lot of bedrooms, then usually we have the center staircase and the lots of bedrooms in the 2 sides of the staircase. But because we have 6 stories, then if you have 10 bedrooms and 1 living space underground, it's really boring, and if I go up to the 6th floors, it's really tired. So I put all the bedrooms into these 3 boxes. Then the rest of the space is the public space, like a living space, family space. Then also this house we designed for the 2 families. This is the parents' house. Then this is their son's couple's house. So between these 2 houses, we connect by the many different the staircases. And this is the facade. And I have to admit that I copied this language from Le Corbusier, because it's really clear. I hide it for a long time, but okay. Then this is excuse, but this is my first house in Vietnam. Then I didn't have any intention to publish. I just tried to do everything what I like. Then I really love Le Corbusier, so I really want to try. But my ex-partner is really crazy about publishing, so he published a lot. So this is not my intention. Okay. Then this is the public space, because we have the sliding doors. So if we open all the sliding doors, it really becoming outside the atmosphere. Actually, almost all the time the client is using this space without any air conditioning. And this is the 4th floor, the upper levels, the family space. This is the top floor bedrooms. Then this is under construction photos. This is exposed concrete ceiling, so it's somehow very difficult type of the construction. If this one is in Japan, that they have to make the scaffolding by the steel frame with many calculations. But in Vietnam, it's really great that they built up the scaffolding by mangrove trees with like the cutting everything in the site. This is mangrove scaffolding. This is a concrete block. Then after 1 year after the completion, the couple, the son's couple family, they came to my office, and they said that the wife's mother get older and sick, so they want to live together with their mom, so they want to go out from this house. Instead, they said that you are the designer, you have the obligation to become my tenants. So But at that time, I don't have the money enough to rent this space. So I proposed them, because they didn't use the basement floor as a parking anymore. So we proposed them, if we renovate this space as my office, and this is my family's space, it's possible to rent. Then they said it's okay. So for 3 years, these 3 floors, my family and my staff is using. Then these 3 floors, the original parents is still using. This is my office. So this office also has a sliding door, so we don't use air conditioning at all. In the morning, the sunlight comes from this side. Then in the lunchtime, we have the sunlight from this light well. Then in the tropical countries, I really feel sensitive to design the border, because we can design a lot of buffer space. But for the buffer space, the windows or the top light or this kind of boundary details really define the character of the buffer space. So I really be careful in designing these elements. For me, this window, if we don't have this window, top light, then we can just see like a bright greenery when the sunlight come in. But because of this glass, we can sense of the existence of the light itself. This is somehow the referencing to the Alexander Calder's sculpture. I think this sculpture gives the shape to the wind, or give the shape to the air. For me, this window device is something to give the shape to the sunlight. And this is 4th floor. Because of my family, it's really messy. And we can see the giraffe because this is the Saigon Zoo. Then this is really old zoo, number 6 oldest in the world. In the morning, we have around here, this is the trees for monkeys. So in the early morning, around 5 a.m., we can hear lots of sounds of the tropical birds or tropical monkeys. And this is now the plants grow up very, very densely, so we can see a lot of animals inside. This is my daughters. They really loved our house, but they think this is not a house, it's more like a park. And this is from the living room. We have another water garden. They really enjoy everywhere as they like. Then this is my fish pond, but they sometimes change to their swimming pool. So after 3 years living here, I learned something important in this house. The first thing is that this is the bedroom, this is the living room. Even with inside the living room, or even in the public space or private space, I found everywhere is half outside and half inside. And this is really comfortable in this climate. Then I now think that all the house should be half inside and half outside. Actually, the house is not completely, cannot be completely inside or cannot completely outside. But if we sense about these issues, maybe the inside space can have more nicer relationship with surrounding environment. And another thing, second things, what we learned from here is that for example, in the daytime, the swallows, sparrows, pigeons, or cats or many animals go through the house. And in the storm day, the rain come from here, then rain go out from here. In the nighttime, we have a lot of bat go through the house. Then, how to say, the attitude, this attitude is really, I feel, we are accepting or inviting the surrounding environment, which we cannot control. These days, people really focus on how to control the inside space. But in this house, a lot of uncontrollable issues or animals come inside. For example, the cat. I saw him when he was going through the neighbor house. He really feels sensitive and nervous and a bit running. But when he go inside our house, he really feel relaxed and very slow. And the last year, another cat raised up the baby on our office space. And last year, she also raised up another babies in 4th floor. So I think they really feel our intention to open to the surrounding atmosphere. Then at the same time, through this building, we can see more about the surrounding, like animals, or if he's walking around the surrounding, we also watch how he's going around, or means we are also our sense is not only focusing inside the bedrooms or living room, but through this architecture, our sense is more expanding to the surrounding is really interesting for me. This is somehow in the small scale, with the motorbike, our sense is more expanding to the grounds, or in the bigger sense, the Buckminster Fuller, think about the earth. This is another house. This house also, we composed the space with the inside box and the outside, the public space. The concept is almost the same with the first house. So I go a bit faster. Then this window, for me, this one, we designed this window for giving the shape to the wind instead of the sunlight in the previous house. Because with this wind, actually this one catch the wind, but even if we don't have even if this is not the windy day, we can sense about the existence of the wind or air. This is the children's corner. This is the living space on the ground floor, bedrooms. This is the patterns inside the concrete, because in Vietnam, the human labor is cheap, then they're very good at making handcraft things, so we sometimes try to use these elements into the architecture. The small library. Okay. Then another house, we designed the small house in Chau Doc. This is Ho Chi Minh City, and this is around here is the boundary between Cambodia and Vietnam. Then this is the Mekong River from Phnom Penh City. Then from around here, the Mekong River spread into the 9 branches, then create the huge Mekong Delta during the very long history. Then because around here the river has a speed, but from here becoming really slow. So that's why the water loses the ability to carry the soil. So from here, a lot of soil is laying every year. So then in the end, around here is a bit more higher altitude than around here. So this is a kind of valley in the topography. So every year, this this area is most famous town as a flat city in the Mekong Delta area. Then all the town is developed along the river. Then our site is around here. This is the surrounding site. Then in this area, we have two mounted roads, streets along the river. Then on the river, we have the water house. And from the two sides of this road, we have the pilotis house through lots of private bridges. This is a typical scenery in the Mekong Delta area. Then the backside of the pilotis house, we have a huge rice field. But in the flood time, every year has 5-6 months is a flood, the rainy season. The rice field also becoming a flood, so only the two roads along the river remain on the water. And we have a lot of small branches of the river, so that we have to go to the site by the small ferry. This is the floating house. This is the pilotis house on the riverbank. Then backside of this house is our land. Surrounding the house, we have a lot of the illegal housing, and all the house has the corrugated steel material because this is cheapest in the local market. But because of easy construction, their window is really small. So in the daytime, it's really hot. So usually nobody stay in the house in the daytime. This is our owner's original house. This is their kitchen. Then this house is also floating around 1.2 meter to 1.5 meter. Then they have the animals on the ground. This is their toilet. This is their animal place. The long time because they had a flood, then they don't have the really careful manners, so they throw away all the daily garbages, or they have the animal, but they don't clean up their animals' boo-boo or pee-pee. Because the rainy season, the water bring all this garbage into the rice field and it becoming the fertilizer. But around 10 years ago, the government have the concrete embankment, because without the flood, they can have 3 times rice in 1 year. But after that, people still living in the original house. So year by year, the garbage is overlaying. Then it's really becoming a big problem around their housing. And on the ground, this space is for the animals, or this is a tomb. Then I'm really surprised that in the city, people really live far from the animals or the dead people or ghosts, but they're really close with many outside elements. And this somehow gives the richness inside, I feel. This is the original client and the client's house, and she's the owner. Then she said that now I have the money, we can rebuild the house, but the budget is the same with the surrounding houses. Then she said that you are the architect, you can do something interesting. Then I think it's a difficult job, so first time I refused. But she said that her request is to build the house like Ho Chi Minh City style. Ho Chi Minh City is really for me, it's just like a capitalism style, and no taste or no philosophy or no themes, just concrete column with a brick, maybe everywhere in Asian countries. But for them, this original house is really like the symbol of the poverty. Then if they have money, they want to change to the Ho Chi Minh house as soon as possible. This is their request. Then as an architect, I feel that somebody define the beauty of their original housing or original lifestyle, then we should prepare the choice for the local people to choose the Ho Chi Minh style or their local style. So because of this target, we start this project. This is the site. This is the original house. This original house, for us, already very attractive. The scale is really like a not too huge or very friendly scale. And the floating, because floating, air is really go through and somehow comfortable. Then we propose to use the original, all the material here is using the local materials because construction budget is the same with the local. We cannot bring the workers from Ho Chi Minh City. Also, material we cannot bring from the city, so we have to buy all the materials in the city, and we have to ask the carpenters, local carpenters, for the construction. So all the construction method, materials, workers is everything from the local regions. But the client says she doesn't like because she wants to build the Ho Chi Minh style. Why you propose local one again? Then we really had a hard time, but in the end, one of their family persuaded the client. Then client reluctantly start this construction. This is after the construction. This is the entrance. From the entrance, this is the staircase from the entrance. This is the living space. The living space. This is the bedrooms. This is the kitchen behind. And this is a neighbor house. So this is, from here is our house. Then we have to use a lot of like a local tall material, corrugated steel material because of the price. But actually this is the cheapest material in the market. From backside, some small like the reading corners. This is the entrance, small space to chat with the surrounding people. This is the window. It is in a rainy day. This is like a opposite house. This house is like a pilotis house on the river. And this is the backside. We can see the rice field. So this is our concept drawing. So our house is here. Then we use almost with the surrounding materials or surrounding construction method. So we want this house becoming melting with the surrounding environment. And this is when we finish the construction, we ask one photographer to take the photos. Then very unluckily, the neighbor started the construction with the Ho Chi Minh style. Then all the village people come to this house and point out the neighbor, and this is the most beautiful house in the village. Then we feel really sad. The client also feel really sad. But another lucky thing is that after we publish this building, a lot of people visit this house, all over Vietnam, from north or from south, and also from the foreign countries, French, Japanese, or Germany, many people visit this house, and the one Germany architect come to this house, then ask the client that this corrugated steel is really beautiful, where they can buy it. Then after that, client change their mind a bit. Then these days they feel happier to live here. But to work with the local people is really difficult because they really don't know about what is the local environment or what is the good point of the local living style. So this is really a very difficult project for us. This photo, this is my team. Then I really appreciate, they really love architecture. They really have the strong dream into the architecture. And in the photo shooting day, they really helped the photographer very well. But after I changed the angle, I understand they are under the umbrella. Then in these regions, because one house still have the not very big influence, so I'm thinking to be related to this city, this town, in 5 years or 10 years. Then if every year we have 1 or 2 housing, how the culture develop or change or something happens, I want to see in the long run. This is a factory project. This one is the maybe not very much important, so I will go through. Then this is the one restaurant we designed near the Bentham Market. The Bentham Market is the French people made in the city center and one of the most like the face of the Ho Chi Minh City. But French people developed the surrounding housing together, surrounding building together with the central market with lots of nice details and materials. But now the people change all the roof materials into the corrugated steel, and they chop down into the surrounding building into the properties, and some of the building they insert it as like a mini hotels because a lot of tourists come. So around 30–40% of the city structure already broken. Then our client found the land here, this building. So we decided to renovate this building. This is activities around the market. Still, lots of people, tourists come here, then enjoy the atmosphere of the Asian energetic atmosphere or like a merchant atmosphere. This is the land. Then this is before and this is after. This is before we started the construction. The owner covered all the building by the lots of like the advertisement board because this is city center. They can rent the facade as nice, the good price. So a lot of people use advertisement, but we take out everything. And we think how to combine with like original context to the new design is really important. So this is the market and the building. Then we add some steel fence. This one is the referencing to the local apartment. People use a lot of steel fence to extend their territories. But for this space, we want to make it very thin and the very sensitive fence or the layers. So maybe almost the people will not notice. Then even if we see this one, it look like the string of the spiders. It's really thin things. This is from inside. Then for us, as a renovation method, we don't like to make the old building and the new building with a very strong contrast. Instead, we want to make the old building and the new elements melting each other as if we cannot even know the where is the border. This is our target. Then when we see the old building, we found that old building is made by the handcrafted materials or like hand-weight materials, because all these people don't have the big machines, so they have to make by themselves or they have to deliver by themselves. So every material is composed from small scale. So in this time, we also try to use the lots of small scale elements for the new part of the architecture. This is inside. This is inside. We use the glass jaloges with 2,000 pieces. Then we use a concrete block. Also, we precast the small concrete block, and we use 12,000 pieces into the concrete floors. This is during the construction. We put this is white one is the plastic foam with lots of small holes. Then we put the 3 different colors of concrete inside the holes. Then after it gets hard, we burned all the plastic foams. Then after that, we put the white color terrazzo in between. Then after that, we polish into the one piece. This is the method. But one of my team leaders said that after 5,000 pieces installed the floors, she said that I don't think the layout is not nice. I think the layout is not nice. Then she asked me to break the floors. Then I asked the construction company, please break the floor, break the floors, because the layout is not very perfect. Then he said that the construction company said it's impossible because time is coming, opening time is coming. So I asked the owner, restaurant owner, please extend the time because this floor is really important. But he said that now that he has another investor, this is impossible. Then I told my staff this is impossible, but she said, it's okay, I understand. Then I feel a bit easy, but in that night, she collect 5 staffs, and she collect another 5 students from the university, and I found they are going to somewhere around 11 p.m. or something, some midnight. Then I asked them, where are you going? Then she said that, please come together. Then I go with them. Then they invade into the construction site, and they break all the 5,000 pieces of the concrete block. Then after that, around 2 weeks, every day from 11 p.m. to 5 a.m., we go to the construction site and we replace again with the 5,000 concrete blocks. Then Vietnamese construction company or Vietnamese people is really good people. I really like them. But after 5,000 piece finish, they say that, oh, you are very good at making the concrete layout. So please do another 7,000 pieces. Then we have a bit small fight in between, but in the end we complete it somehow. So this is another example. This is we clashed the old brick in the site. Then we put a bit inside the concrete to make a bit like a similar color together. This is some of the example. We want to make the old part and the new part is continuous. And this is the last project. This one, I take the photos in the nursery in the Mekong Delta small town. This is a plastic, like a layers. Maybe we can see everywhere in the tropical countries. Then this one we found in the tea plantation field. They use this one for drying the tea leaves. Then I think this is really beautiful material. Then after that, I found the same material everywhere in the city. This is for like playgrounds, kindergartens, or the parking space, or this is the floating house. They use this material because it's really cheap. Then because I'm Japanese, when I come to Vietnam, I don't realize how the sunlight is very strong and harsh. But after living 5 years, 6 years, I understand that the sunlight is really strong, has a very strong existence, physical existence, like the rainwater. For example, this is the signal, this is the signal line. Everybody's waiting under the bridge. Then if when the sunlight the temperature becoming hotter and hotter, more and more people wear the coat to protect their skin. This is exactly same with the phenomenon that when we are rainy day, we wear the raincoat, or we take the umbrellas. In the sunshine, also we have our body naturally react like that. Then we think that whether we can design the building by the shadow and shade. This is the concept. Then this is the building facade. This is a terrace. Then because this one cut the sunlight, but just 50%, so we plant the trees. Then we have the glass above. This glass put the one layer of the cutting the UV or the sunlight heat around 90%. Then we have the shading net. Then in between we have another layer of the awning. In the lunchtime we have to protect the sunshine. But after lunchtime we open all this awning, so that we still have lots of plantings and inside the restaurant space. Then this is the nighttime. So we can see the old villa's roof sometimes, and another place we can see the trees. The entrance, the waiting space. The nighttime. This is the site plan. This is the site sections. Then the other conclusion, I'm Japanese, so I have something to learn from Vietnam. Then when I come to Vietnam, most surprising thing is that everything is from the individual happiness or for the individual happiness. When we do something or when we design something, we have basically two ways of making something. First one is we start from the function. Like we have to do something, we have to do something, a lot of restriction. Then the rest is the possibility of the design. This is the first way. The second way is that we start from the positive reason or dream. I like something. Then during this possibility, we study a lot of possibility, then we eliminate the difficult. This is the second way of making. Then in Vietnam, I feel Japan is really the first one. We have a lot of restriction. But in Vietnam, it's opposite way. They start from what they like. For example, in the flood time, even in the flood time, they want to catch the fish on the street. And I've heard another story that this is Hanoi Orchestra, National Orchestra, that he's also Japanese conductor, the Mr. Honna, that he said that for the orchestra player, there is most important two things. First one is to listen to the surrounding sounds because they don't play by themselves. Then second thing is that to watch the movement of the conductor's hand very carefully. This is the two important things. but the Vietnamese player ignore two things. So they want to enjoy themselves first. Then if lucky, their music and the neighbor's music come together. But because of this, the philosophy, everyone's sound is more lively, more happy. So this is somehow give the inspiration to me. And another second one is the generosity, because this is Japan. This is a park. This is in the suburb, the subway. Then it says no smoking, no pet, or no lean on the fence, or no dangerous things. I have a lot of restriction inside the park. I don't like to play, if I'm the children, I don't like to play in this park. Then in the subway, they say that watch your manner. The other people are watching you more than your expectation. For me, it's more like a horror movie. I think Japanese people's manner is really great already. When we go to the World Cup, they clean up the garbage. This is becoming really like somehow the respected culture. I think they already enough, but they still want to watch each other. Then this is Vietnam. Very opposite way. This is the street, the public space, but everybody use as the commercial space, or sometimes they have the meals outside, or even sometimes they change as their bedrooms. So this kind of things is not control, not government don't control, more like individual have some positive reason to to change the environment. This is really give the energy or liveliness into the society, city, street, or architecture. So this one is not very convenient for architect, because when we design, complete a building, the client said, oh, it's nice. But of course, sometimes some client doesn't like some part of the architecture. So after 3 or 4 weeks later, we visit again. They change many things already. So this is not convenient for architect, but as a relationship between human and architecture, or human with the city, or human with the environment, I feel really close. This is very, connecting to the happiness of people. Then, as a result, naturally, they have the confidence to change their environment or to update their environment. For example, this is in the zoo. This is a greenhouse to raise up the bit like a shadow, the planting in the shadow. Then this is really nice building, a very old building with lots of concrete decorations inside. Then if this is in Japan, maybe they will really protect. Then they make for example, the ceiling material, they make the original material, but they put a very cheap plastic layers on the ceiling, and everybody can come in easily. So this way of using the old heritage as their the daily life element is really interesting. For example, this is the children's hospital I introduced in the first part, but because this is a national hospital of the children, so a lot of poor family come to Ho Chi Minh City to cure the children, but they don't have money to stay in the hotel, so the hospital rent the very wide space of the corridors as their hotel. Actually, they just put the very simple bed or hammock, but the hospital charge very small money for their families. Then everybody use as their the daily life. Or this one is the market. this is the one market in Ho Chi Minh City Center. Then there is like a lot of small grid into this the city, into this the small street, a lot of small street. Then there is no building of the market, but in the early morning, everybody bring lots of elements. Then all this area becoming the market. Then this area is for the fish, for the meat, for the vegetable, fruit, or the garments. So this is, how to say, the very interesting way to use the city or to use the street. So as my conclusion, I think the tropical countries, or what I learned from Vietnam, is about the happiness or generosity or confidence. People have the confidence to change their world. This kind of things can be the hint towards the new generation of the tropical architecture. So thank you very much.